Hey everyone, welcome to The Path of Me. I'm your host, Wendy Hutchinson, and I'm here with my buddy, Darrel Davenport.
Hello.
He's a cool artist here in Sugarland, Texas. I'm in his workspace. You can see all of these really cool things behind us. He builds things, collects things, sells things, imports things, exports things. That was kind of your past life.
Yeah, you name it.
He's kind of a Renaissance man. So welcome, Darrel.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you for showing up for me today. I
Yes,
appreciate it. And let me come down and check out all your cool stuff.
Thank you.
So we were talking, Darrel and I were at lunch about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we started talking about how much he's changed. Like he's just been on this incredible evolutionary path. I mean, we all are to some degree.
Yes, we are.
But I first met Darrel about, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, right?
I think 3 years.
3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was a much different person back then. I'm just going to say. Tell me where you were at when I first met you. What was going on in your life?
Right when I met you, it was my eyes had just been open to spirituality, I guess. Yeah.
Like something more than this tangible world?
Way more than this tangible world. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
I knew there was a lot more out there for me. And I just needed to figure out how to reach it. Yeah.
Prior to that, what was your life like? You've had a very colorful
compared
past.
To now.
You've had a very colorful past.
Compared to now, chaos. Chaos.
You have 6 kids.
6 kids.
Couple exes.
3 different women.
3 exes.
And yeah.
You were traveling
probably at least half the year.
Doing a lot of buying for your import business at the time.
That's all I was doing. Restoration. Right. If I wasn't traveling, buying it or selling it, I was restoring it. Yeah.
It was a family business.
Family business for sure. Although I'm the only child that kind of
is involved.
Picked it up. Yeah. Period. Even from an early age. So yeah.
You're a natural fit because you're an artist and a creator and builder, welder.
You bet.
When I first met Darrel, I pulled up to his place and there was this huge like army tank in front of his place, like a huge prop from some sort of theater production. And I went into his workspace and I was like, wow, there's a lot of cool shit in here.
Yeah, in those days I was all about
big columns and all kinds of stuff. Antique windows and
architectural,
all kinds of stuff. But what was going on inside of you that kind of was pulling you in a different direction? Like something must have been sparking or triggering this shift, right?
For me, the initial part of it, the start of it was actually trauma. There was a huge trauma, a 3rd divorce, separated from your kids,
What year was that?
Oh, that was
2000.
Wow, that's 5 years.
15?
Thanksgiving weekend, it was 5 years.
So literally 5 years ago, like recently.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
So I went from having it all again, and kind of losing it all.
Has it been a thing, like a theme? Like, how sometimes we repeat patterns where you just have like the world in your hands and then it just is like water through your fingers, just kind of like slips away and you're like, what just happened? And then you build it up and it's all right there again. And then, sometimes we have these cycles, right?
Well, sure. Life is all about cycles.
Yeah.
And until you really address your own problems that you create for yourself, you're going to just continue to
wash, rinse, repeat that. I think a lot of us get stuck in that.
Oh, 99%
in these patterns and grooves that we can't, and we know we don't like it.
Like we don't know how to get out of it.
Exactly. We're like, this sucks, but I don't know. I'm just going to keep doing this and hope it changes, but never does because you're doing the same shit.
The definition of insanity.
Yeah, you keep going around the track. Right?
That's right. That's right.
So, but something did shift for you because you certainly are a different person today.
Yeah, I'll take that as a compliment.
It is a compliment.
I feel
it is a compliment.
I think about how
you've evolved so much on the inside, spiritually, and you're so calm now and very chill, and I can tell there's just been so much happening on the inside. On the inside,
you never stop. I know just enough now about my path that I'm creating as I go, and I'm on. Is you never stop learning. You never stop evolving.
Yeah, that's true.
It just takes. You just have to put the work in.
What would you say? I know there have been some pivotal things that kind of helped you to pivot and shift, and kind of lead you closer to yourself. I know one of them was finding your church and your meditation.
Yes, meditation.
It's a meditation church or enlightenment. What is it called?
The SRF, Self-Realization Fellowship.
So it's more like a collective of like-minded people coming together.
Definitely.
For mindfulness, connection, community.
Yes, ma'am. And it's finding like-minded humans. Well, when I found the church, it was totally on accident.
Yes, tell the story.
It was right down the street.
So crazy.
Well, I was slowing down my business. I was actually more or less homeless because I was living in my business, which was a huge warehouse. Mm-hmm. No insulation, no amenities really.
It was pretty rough.
A toilet,
Yeah, I mean, it had the very bare essentials.
It was
no frills.
Nothing whatsoever. So it was interesting, but that initial change, it didn't bother me. I was actually relieved. I know we've had this conversation. I went to sleep on a dining room table in my business and used my backpack for a pillow. And I woke up in the next morning, I could see my breath. It was so cold.
God,
it was just like this little
popsicle.
I was rolled up in
You're like a popsicle on the table.
Bag. I was.
Oh my God.
But the strange thing about it was I felt like 2,000 pounds of weight had lifted off.
You felt free.
I was so free. And I just woke up and I realized that, and the biggest smile came across my face.
It's huge.
I thought, this is going to be okay.
That's huge, right? To be like, huge. Okay, I survived this, and I feel actually better.
Yeah.
Sleeping on this table on my backpack. That was the strangest thing. What's up with that?
I just, the stress was just washing away.
Wow.
So that's
huge.
A very good omen for me that everything's going to be okay. Everybody goes through those types of things where you get put in positions you don't really appreciate at the moment.
I think a lot of times we also think it's the end because it feels so definitely. Emotional and traumatic, and especially divorce. That's emotionally wrenching.
Oh yeah.
Financially wrenching, and if there's kids involved, you had 2 girls, and.
Mm-hmm.
You worry about them.
I already lived through that before.
Yeah, I mean, you've done it before, so you kind of knew what to expect. And it's just it's a huge, messy package.
It really it is. Like it was, and it still can be at moments. Right. But I was grateful. I was happy immediately. So I knew that I had something to work with, and I knew that that was like the first little tip of the iceberg of, okay, this feels good. What's next? Yeah, on this path. So I was getting some exercise one day on a Sunday, and I got on my bicycle and I went cruising around the neighborhood and getting some exercise. And I had just been in bed for 2 weeks with a injured back. So here I was in this big lonely building,
What did you do with your time?
I called my son.
When you were laid out on your back for 2 weeks.
Well, I thought about it for a while. Mm-hmm. And I said, wait a minute, this is a perfect time to stop and do some of the things that I've always wanted to do. Read certain books, educate myself in certain subjects.
Watch YouTube videos.
And YouTube.
YouTube's like the savior.
Well, I called my son and said, come here and figure out how to get YouTube on my television.
Did he do it like on his PS4 or something?
Yeah. He brought me an old beat up gaming machine, and piped it all in, and
awesome.
boom, I
Dialed
got
you
YouTube.
in.
So
you lay there, watch videos while you recovered.
I spent the 2 weeks learning about meditation.
It's interesting that you were guided to that.
Well, it's
but
really,
you weren't forced to be still.
I just
really can't go anywhere.
Well, with my upbringing, I have people that know me really well in the business, because we always joke and said we're a little bit like carnival people. You just go from city to city. And there's a little bit of truth to that.
Yeah.
But I just knew that certain things that I wanted to explore, that I never stopped to take the time. I was raised by people that are very high energy. And the bad side of that.
So presence is not a part of that experience.
Not one iota.
That's like kind of a symptom of avoidance.
Definitely. Right? I know that now.
Like if I just keep myself busy, I don't ever have to look inside,
think about problems,
or feel anything. Let's not feel anything, because that's just too dangerous and scary. So I'm just gonna
make me look bad.
Keep myself completely busy 100% of the time and avoid any emotional connection with myself.
You bet. And I trained well.
Right. I mean, that's how you were modeled. So that's kind of probably the mode you were in. So this back injury was really pivotal.
It really was. And I was so angry.
You to slow down.
I was very angry, and I knew I was just going to go crazy. I mean, I couldn't sit. I couldn't lay.
Were you like on your side? Like what was the only position?
I did like one of these. I was kind of reclined and crooked.
That's rough.
So I propped. There were nights. I mean, I just chalked pillows every which way until I slept like this.
You graduated to pillows though from the backpack, so that was
good. Yeah, I did. And a bed. Period. That was.
Oh, good. You got a bed in there.
That's one of the benefits of being in the wholesale.
Right, you can score some deals.
You can find some deals. They just want to see cash.
So did you have like was it a nudge? Like, I'm laying back here. I'm going to check out some meditation stuff.
Well,
what was it? What sparked that interest?
I watched some videos,
Or were you just clicking around and boom, there it was? Sometimes when you're in YouTube, you're guided to certain
the time that I waited for my son to show up and actually pipe it in, I already knew basically what I wanted to look up, and I wanted to see about meditation and other things. Of course, that snowballed, after that. But I saw, I just was pondering meditation, and I tried to do it myself, just sitting there, no experience, no knowledge about it.
You had nowhere to be.
I had nowhere
you couldn't go anywhere, so that was a good opportunity to try.
It took me a half hour to get to the toilet and back.
Yeah.
So I just thought about it and kind of prayed, and this and that. And do
you think you were in a place of like surrender?
Oh, definitely.
When you got to that space, because sometimes
that's
we have to get pushed down so hard, you kind of get slammed.
That is,
and then it kind of makes you be like, shit, man, I need to regroup here and figure out what this is about.
Oh yeah. You are forced sometimes,
Life has a way of doing that.
Yeah, for me that was it is pivotal, because I mean once the control is taken out of your hands and you can't do anything else to control any aspect.
You have to surrender.
You have to surrender.
You have no choice.
Wow. And meditating, I figured out a few things, and I found a few little things that kind of worked for me, like playing videos of Om sounds and just the nature sounds. So some worked, some didn't. So I played with that forever. But
you're riding your bike, you get better.
I have one good moment of meditation where I managed to muster 15 whole minutes of meditation.
That's good. For a beginner, that's like really good.
Yeah, I started 5 minutes. I
started with 3 and I couldn't do it.
Really? Well,
I meditate now.
My mind bounces the whole 5 minutes in the beginning, and all of that. Me too. But I made that first breakthrough
that's huge.
where it jarred me so much that I knocked myself out of it.
You're like, it's been a while.
Wow, that was cool. Wait a minute, how do I get back?
And then you
there?
lost it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But
Oh gosh,
it allowed me to see, okay,
it's possible.
this is something. I'm onto something
it's
here.
Possible.
So within a few days of that, I was able to get up. Able to get up and go ride my bike. Right. So I was Sunday. I rode down the street that my business has been on for 25 years, and I turned a corner just to cut through a neighborhood, and I was going by the big Krishna temple that they were working on. I've been watching them work on it for like 10 years. And across the street, on this little side street, there was this little wooden house and a tea shack and some little buildings. And they had signs in the grass and stuff out by the road, Houston Meditation Center, with arrows. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. It was like, oh,
this is a sign.
They're talking about a sign.
Synchronistic.
I rode my bike right up. People were filing in for service. And
literally, you show up right on time for the service.
I actually rode right up, smiling. Everybody was like, hello, hello.
Up your bike.
I just dropped my bike literally and walked into the building.
Oh my gosh.
And,
the timing of that's so crazy.
And I have looked for a church on and off since I was 19 years old.
Church wasn't your thing.
No, but
it's kind of funny because I think sometimes you think it is, but then it never fits. Like it's just never been something
That's right.
that resonated for me personally. And if you go to church, great. I mean, you do you,
That's
but
right.
For me, it wasn't a fit. But you kind of, if you're not on a spiritual path consciously, you don't even know what the alternative is, really.
That's true.
Right? You just keep, I know people try different churches, different things, and they just are like,
different
no. So how cool you found this meditation.
Well, I didn't even know it was a church of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
So and a lot of people, I think, feel the same way. The dogma of it, the organization, the organized religion part of it.
The lack of self-realization?
Well, it never really made sense,
Mm-hmm.
I had questions. I've always had questions.
You're not encouraged to ask questions if you go to a regular church. You're supposed to listen and do.
Yeah, they get kind of...
They get pissed off if you ask any questions. It's
So I sat through this service, and you meditate. You talk about the Bible, you talk about the Bhagavad Gita, you analyze them. It all says the same darn thing. I don't care what religion people say they are.
There's a lot
you
of commonality.
You go to the same place. When you're done, you go to the same place.
Exactly. So it resonated for you.
It really did on such a level.
You felt like you're home.
I was blown away.
Did you feel
I was like here it is. And I was already thinking about closing my business and everything. At this point, I just didn't know how. And I thought, well, this is perfect, great. I find the church I really like.
When I'm closing my business.
When I want to move from this part of the city. So,
right.
But it's, I love it. I still go. It's, all of that. And that's not even an issue anymore.
And you got a little more guidance.
Oh, a lot more guidance.
Because you start to understand some principles, universal principles, and how it relates to you, and how you can tap in and embody those principles, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And all those questions that you have going in to a church, like, okay, where was Jesus between, 8 and 28, or whatever the time frame he's missing for a long time. And then they say things about him being born, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden he's preaching, right? Mm-hmm. They don't answer. They don't have an answer for that. Mm-hmm. Well, the center that I go to, the SRF, they have all those answers. And it not only is it like something, I could wrap my head around that. No, it's like, hey, that
makes sense.
That makes total sense. That's,
so it resonated.
And it's not some high in the clouds, kind of an idea.
It kind of is something you could relate to.
Yeah, it's normal stuff. Working, walking, meditating,
Mm-hmm.
learning. That's, of course, that's
eternal.
Yes. So
that sparked something.
yeah, I haven't hardly missed a service in the 3 years coming up on. So yeah, and I mean the people. It's all finding like-minded people. The meditation was huge to get.
Sounds like a nice community.
It's a very nice,
welcoming community for you.
Yeah, and even traveling, I stopped at one of the branches in Dallas Fort Worth, and it was wonderful. Yeah,
felt the same.
The same. That's right.
I guess it's going to attract a certain kind of individual.
Well, and you have to kind of be pursuing, and which all of us really need to be pursuing a more righteous path. Truth, but your day to day. That's the biggest thing for me is the way you live. It's all in the way you live. You have to rewire your brain. You have to get rid of the negative thoughts, get rid of the negative things coming out of your
programming.
Mouth.
You have to delete the programming.
And it can be a job.
Well, I think self-awareness is the first part of it, right? Is even being
That's
aware
huge.
that you have this thought process and mindset that you're bringing to your life, and it's creating your reality.
Mm-hmm.
You're creating your reality.
And you can change.
You can change
that new
yourself and create a new reality, a better reality.
Yes, definitely.
But it all starts with...
I'm living proof.
It all starts with letting go of all those things that don't align with who we are.
And
it's like finding the truth and core of who you really are, right?
That's
and it's
right.
so much work unpacking all that shit.
And that's what I spend most of my time with these days, is looking at and looking at who I am.
What was it like for you to kind of wade through it all? I mean, you've had this really interesting life. There's a lot of stuff that comes along with it, right?
Well, the experiences.
You have experiences, but then also I find with experiences we have definitely judgments around ourselves or perceptions around who we are and what we are, and are we a success, are we a failure, are we this, are we that, and then that kind of shapes our belief system, and then we start to respond and create life situations that validate those beliefs, even if they're not true, right? And then you're like, there you go, this always happens, or whatever. It's just a lot to unpack.
But acknowledging it and seeing your own faults is huge.
It's so hard.
That's, to me, that's
I did
the
that.
easy part.
No, I mean, I've done that, but it was, in the beginning, it was hard. I didn't want to be flawed or wrong.
None of us do.
And
that's why we hide it.
I want to look at that.
We hide it all inside and
bury it.
Yeah.
And guess what? It shows up.
It does.
It seeps out.
Oh yeah.
In our behaviors.
At the damnedest moments too.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of wading through it. You have to acknowledge it, and you have to own up to it.
It gets easier though.
It does.
In the beginning, it's like, it's like, trudging through mud. Like, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to look at this. But then as you unpack it over time,
it gets a little easier. And you discover a way to kind of format all of it. You say, well, yeah, okay, I do tend to do this. And you keep that on your mind up here where you can see it kind of all the time. You just try to, the rewiring part is constant. You never stop trying to rewire yourself.
How did you rewire yourself? What was a tool that you used?
Changing habits.
Being aware of a habit and intentionally changing it?
First of all, you become aware, and then you become aware of all of them that are stacked. But
there are a lot.
Oh yeah.
It's a big list.
Yeah, it's huge.
You have to start with one.
You start with
can't do
one
the
little
whole thing.
Just acknowledging stuff.
That's huge.
That's huge, and that's one.
Right.
But you have to keep acknowledging. Even when you're not doing it, you can go back to it and say, yeah.
There it is.
And you create the new habit, a positive habit. Habits don't have to be negative.
True.
I changed in the very beginning. I changed my eating. I
Wait, you're vegan.
Yeah,
No.
not anymore. But in
You
the
were
very in the
vegan.
very beginning, I stopped on let's say day one. I stopped sugar, sweeteners, processed foods, and water that had fluoride in it because of YouTube.
Fluoride's not good.
Conspiracy theories. Anyway, it's the fluoride is not good
Fluoride's
to
not good
ingest.
for you.
It's a neurotoxin. They finally admitted it in 2018.
Yes.
So after 1 week with the water alone, it was like a fog lifted off my head. I noticed it. And I went from
Really?
yes, I noticed it.
Just from changing the water.
Just from water alone.
That's crazy.
Without fluoride. This is all spring water. And I haul all my own water now so that I can make sure that nobody's scamming me. But
wow.
A fog
so you
lifted
knew
off.
it.
I went from going around the corner and forgetting what I was doing, forget what I walked in the other place for, to like that, to not only not forgetting, but I went ahead and took care of 2 other things before. You know,
it was like this clarity started to come.
Such a profound clarity. I tell people all the time. I talked to somebody at the hospital the other day about it. They didn't want to hear it.
You know, your diet is so important. The things we put into our body and ingest they're so important. And of course, we're human. It's so hard to be so disciplined all the time. But even just shifting your mindset and maybe stepping away from the fast food, or like you said, doing spring water instead of treated water.
To me, I think it was something that I could actually do. You know, I could wrap my head around that
and incorporate it into your life. Incorporate
that into my daily life.
Yeah.
And then after, I was like hungry for the first month, like hangry. I could not get enough to eat because I was trying to eat all raw. I really went to the extreme of it. I dropped like 30 pounds really fast.
I remember
People
that.
were asking me if I was sick or something. Had cancer, something. And
oh my
God. Maybe I should try.
Well, did you feel better besides being, feeling hangry?
Feeling hungry after a month or two, and it works itself out. You feel so much better. Just being lean.
Was it like a cleanse?
Oh,
like a detox?
Oh boy.
It was like a detox.
It was a detox.
Kind of.
I did detox.
Yeah.
I did it straight and narrow enough to where I did purge awful stuff out of my body.
Just chemically cleared your field.
Yeah. So then, within a month of the beginning, I stopped.
30 pounds.
Stopped meat.
That's a lot.
So as soon as I stopped meat, that's when the weight fell off. But it felt
that could be
really
my problem.
Good. Well, I
like bacon.
Oh man,
dude, I love bacon.
I have. I finally added seafood to my diet. So and cheese is my weakness because I didn't have any idea, how much I like cheese until I stopped eating it.
Well, that's everything, right?
I didn't
when
miss
you give
meat.
Something up, all of a sudden you're like, I have to have it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't really. You become aware of all kinds of things about yourself. So that helps.
So it was baby steps. You were just slowly removing things that didn't serve you, like thought patterns, behaviors, food.
The negativity was the big one. Negative thoughts and negative action.
Did you realize how negative you were before
No.
you started this?
I had no idea how much of that I carried.
So you started to pay attention to the loop and the pattern?
That's right. Immediately people started, within months, people would say, wow, my children, wow, you sure are different, and they were happy about it. And it blew me away because I didn't feel different. I was kind of knee deep in it, still wading through it so heavily. But
people were seeing a change.
But people could see a change in me.
I think we all influence the people around us and we don't even realize it. Because, our families around us all the time, and, you don't think that anyone's paying attention. You're just living your life. But when you start to change, even if people don't really say anything, I feel like they're observing.
And they observe, and it wears off on them too.
It starts to kind of shift them a
My
little bit,
energy is
right?
getting bigger.
Your field is growing.
Yeah, I'm pushing it on you. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then you started noticing how people that you've been around aren't so good for you, and sometimes it's family.
Well, you know, I think a lot of it too is as you cleanse and clear, and we did energy work together,
Hmm.
your vibration starts to shift and rise. And then the people you were with down here aren't resonant anymore.
Well, they don't really know how to deal with
They
your
can't really relate to you anymore. They don't
exactly.
understand. They're threatened and angry about it because you used to be down here with them, and like,
Hmm.
who do you think you are? Like elevating and shifting and changing.
Yeah.
And there's
Oh, you're
all
the
this
same person. La la
mm-hmm,
la. Yeah, I've
and
heard
there's
it.
all this projection of their crap because they're feeling uncomfortable. And
It
sometimes there's like an attrition and they just fall away.
I like that part because
It's kind of organic,
there were a ton of people that just really just poof, they were just gone.
but
And a lot
it's
of them I was close to on a daily basis.
mhm.
And I've had people that I was, elbow to elbow with working with when I started this. And I have
It's interesting
there's
how
a
that
particular
happens.
human that is I worry about that person still a little bit,
Hmm.
but they have become really angry, or maybe I just didn't see it before, but really angry and negative and bitter.
Hmm.
And it just kind of freaked me out, because this particular person cussed me.
Hmm.
I was trying to do a favor, and it kind of spun out of control and
Backfired, and
backfired on me, and I got cussed up and
it's one
up
of
one
those
side and down the other, and blamed for this and that
crazy.
and the other, that really I had no big part of at all. I was doing favors,
I've been in that
but
situation too, but you know what? The old version would have gone right into it, right?
oh, the old me would have just
I would
smashed
have
somebody in the face.
right, right. You just show you'd be fighting. You want to win. You want to be right. You'd be fighting for your honor,
That's right.
whatever. But then you get to a place in your evolution where you're like, okay,
Yeah.
there you
Well,
are. All right. You want to? Okay.
I learned a
You
lot
know.
that at that particular moment with this person, because they here I am standing, and there's other people within an earshot, and this person's like screaming and cussing me and telling me I'm
How'd you
no good.
respond to that, Darrel?
Well, as soon as they finished, I said, maybe you're right. And I just left it at that.
Wow.
And
Impressed.
I felt, yeah, not as impressed as I was. I wasn't even angry. I wasn't,
That's mastery right there.
so that was
Wow.
like a big
Huge.
thing that made me realize, okay, this does work. It was some validation, wow,
You've
you're
changed.
getting somewhere.
You've changed so much. Those are the moments where you sometimes we're presented with these really challenging situations in our life,
Hmm.
and they're almost opportunities for us to see the mastery
They are exactly,
level that we have reached, and to reflect to you, wow,
they are
I
exactly
could
that.
have been who I was 10 years ago and punched someone in the face, but now I just responded from a higher perspective and walked away. I mean, that's huge, right?
It is huge. Yeah, yeah.
So,
I still want to. Hey,
yeah,
good
okay,
job.
good job, man. Good job. Way to bring your A game.
Well, and we all deal with that stuff every day. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
You're gonna have moments in traffic where you're like, "Hey, come on, jerk, what are you doing?" And stuff like that.
I haven't flipped anyone off in a long time.
I haven't
I'm
either.
really proud of myself.
And
I used to be aggressive out there, man. I was like
oh,
every man for himself. And I'm like, all
that's
right,
right.
you want to cut me off? That's fine. You want to
Everything
tailgate
gets
me?
better. Everything gets
It
better
sure
when you
does.
can really grasp your own self. What would be the right way to articulate
I
that?
think coming back and actually seeing who we really are,
Well,
like knowing our soul,
mm-hmm.
knowing the core being of who we are, is the biggest gift we
Mm-hmm.
can give to ourselves, because we realize that we aren't all those things that we criticized ourselves for and judged ourselves for.
And we are in some instances. So those are the things we work on.
Right.
So,
But I mean, but seeing the truth of who we are as a soul and just really learning to be kind to ourselves and accept and love ourselves, and then work on the aspects that we want to improve on and change.
That simple thing will transform you.
Changes your life.
Because these obstacles, this traumatic stuff, these lessons, you kind of get to a place where they don't bother you, you know?
Well, I think something pivots, right? Because the old person would be like, I would be like in a victim space.
Well, you learn how to view that situation.
But you change your perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, you change your perspective. So all of a sudden you're like, okay, what is this teaching me?
Yes. And see, you always said that to me. And I was like, okay, yeah.
I don't want to hear that, but all right.
Okay, I kind of see what you're saying, but I don't understand it. But
over time, look where you are now. You're like, oh, I get that.
You can look back. I just keep trying to keep pointing forward, you know. And
you're so calm now and chill, and
you're
more grounded.
I think I'm a lot more grounded, and I've added a lot of chaos to my life. You know, I've had a new partner. You know,
yes, you do.
And all of the.
He's a new
all
woman
the things that come with
his life. It's amazing.
Which I was not even that totally blindsided me.
One thing that shifted for sure was as you kind of let all those things go you're talking about, you know, those behaviors and changed your mindset and started caring for your body in a more sacred way, you know, and what you're putting in all sense of the word. Your reality started to shift.
Big time.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, when I was still in town and I had just started, one of the first things was moments. I was clear enough to see how things fall into place, like manifesting things. That was.
Tell me about that.
This is one of
an example.
The first thing is just a small. It's kind of silly. But the place that I was living in, you know, it was big, dirty. I worked there.
It was a warehouse, basically.
A warehouse. I said, I need a vacuum cleaner. So I said, okay, I was studying about manifesting and stuff like that, and some different telepathy things, and, you know, broadening my whole horizon with everything, learning. So I started focusing seriously about manifesting. I said, okay, I'm going to manifest a vacuum cleaner. Easy peasy, right? By the end of 3 or 4 days, I had 3 vacuum cleaners. People just brought.
Are you kidding me? Like just by chance, randomly?
Yeah, a little robot one that does it for you while you're.
Oh my gosh!
that was great. I still use that. Crazy. And another one, just somebody just popped in and said, "Hey, I've got these things. You know, I need something to do with them. Would you be interested?" Brand new vacuum cleaner. Brand new.
Stop it.
Yeah, and
You're kidding.
And then someone else from an estate sale. Oh, I think it was my mother, actually. She had brought a bunch of stuff. She said, I'm going to throw this in the dumpster if nobody wants it. A new vacuum cleaner. You know? So I laughed to myself about it.
Oh, there you go.
It made me smile for a long time.
Oh, my gosh. It's so interesting.
From 0 to 3. And it was something that I bitched and moaned about for a year.
You're like, if I'd known it was this simple.
I need enough money for a vacuum cleaner.
If I had known it was this easy.
And then my life would be complete.
Right?
You know? But
oh my
nothing
gosh.
about that.
It's kind of cool to get those God winks when you are able to think and create something, and then it manifests in your life.
Well, then you get some.
You know,
if you apply yourself a little bit.
It started with parking for me.
Parking.
Front row parking.
I remember you saying.
Yeah,
that.
So that was like and it started happening without me really intentionally manifesting it, but I just started noticing. I always got front row parking. Like it was starting.
That person.
It got so weird to the point where it's like, what? You know, it'd be Christmas and like a rush, and then somebody would literally be backing out. I'm like, and bingo. There it is. You know.
You don't even have to argue.
Kind of started with that, but then you start to realize what's possible.
Exactly.
Right? It's like Oh,
that's the game
what
changer.
can I do next? You know, green lights. You know,
Yeah,
I'm driving. I've totally done that. You know, and then you just like, so you start playing with it, right?
Like Carrie talks about
Manifesting
she was one of her things about bending time. You know, they had this long drive right at rush hour at 5 o'clock to be somewhere at, you know, and they did this hour and a half drive in like 40 minutes.
I totally do that too.
Yeah, and it's like,
Bend
how did I
time.
do that? It's like everything parted
The
ways.
C's part, you know, it's so cool once you start elevating, and I don't mean elevating, once you start expanding your consciousness, right? Because you become more aware of what's possible, right?
You become in tune.
Yeah.
Then you look for it.
Right. And then things start to show up that you didn't even have an awareness of.
No, that's right.
Like bending time or manifestation.
Physical things.
Physical things. You were doing some moving little objects with your mind.
Yeah.
What is that called?
It's telepathy, kinesis.
Kinesis.
You know?
Things that you start to blow your own mind.
Well, it's funny happening. Because I picked that up again. I kind of like put it down for a while.
Did it come right back?
It grew.
Really?
It was like I took a big rest.
It's kind of like when you lift weights and then you stop and then you come back stronger.
I think so.
Maybe that's what
I think so. I started with something really basic and simple.
I'm
worked at it so hard until I was sweating and trying all these things I didn't know if they were.
To move the pencil or something.
It with my mind, you know. Yeah, do the pencil. I can't.
Then you relax, and then you're like, oh, there it is.
But that
paperclip just flew off the table.
the wine cork with a stick pin in it, and then a folded piece of paper foil or something over the top of it, and I could get it to move, and I mask myself, I debunk myself,
That's awesome.
Turn off all the air blowing in the place.
So there was no doubt it was you.
So I've got a bandit, thing.
So you're not breathing on it.
I'm not breathing on it, and all of that. And then I started doing it. I was doing it in total silence, and then I added music in the background, and then loud music in the background.
You upped your game.
Yeah, I tried to push myself a little bit in silly little ways, but
wow,
after
that's cool.
A while, I kind of got onto other things. I was reading some books and stuff that were interesting me more. And just the last 30 days or so, I got one of the old ones out, and I couldn't find a little paper or something, so I made one and put it on there. And I sat down, and one morning, right off the bat, before my day got started, I put my hands around it, and that sucker's wow, 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 wow. And I was
That's so cool. You're like impressing yourself.
Because that's what I was trying to do from the beginning, is make it spin, and all I could do is make it move, and then make it move. And now,
that's cool.
Yeah. And then
that's awesome.
Trying to do it with no hands, just look at it.
Right.
That's when you can do that, you're supposed to be pretty good, I think.
That's next time.
But it's not important. You can't put too much stress, I think, on.
I guess the point is you keep expanding.
Yes.
What's possible keeps expanding.
That's right.
And it's shifting your life in so many ways. You've got this incredible person that came into your life.
Yes. Yes.
Could you have even imagined that happening?
I've never been happier with another human being in my space.
Yeah. That's
and actually, I'm in their space. So
it's working.
A good way to talk about that, expanding, a good analogy I heard the other day on talk radio. Totally unfamiliar with it. I mean, it's not linked. 4-minute miles. Remember, that was the big thing. Nobody could. As soon as somebody beat the 4-minute mile, did
showed it was possible.
Ran a mile in under 4 minutes. The next year, there was like a handful of people that did it, like boom.
No problem.
Because somebody broke through the
glass ceiling.
That's right.
Yeah.
And showed that it was not impossible. And I've been thinking ever since about that exact statement, thinking, what else is like that?
What's possible?
What else is possible?
Everything.
That we're holding ourselves back.
Everything's possible.
Everything is the answer.
You know what I also realized as I've been going further on my journey is everything can change in an instant.
Yeah.
If you bring the right energy to it, there's a mastery, you can be witnessing the biggest downward spiral and you can shift it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be holding a certain energetic frequency.
Definitely.
You have to have a vibration or energetic frequency in your field that is so high that when intention meets that frequency, the experience or resonance with that frequency is going to literally spin dust into gold.
That's right. It makes matter form.
I have really been experiencing that in my life in a powerful way, and it's been really interesting to observe. Because especially if other players are involved, you have no control really over the choices that other people make.
That's right.
But you can help by not contributing your negative energy or thoughts around the situation to it. You can feed it love. You can hold space. You can.
Well, even when it's coming at you, the negative, where you just it's pulling the negative out of you. You got to figure out how to
detach from it,
and
just be like, wow, there it is,
and try to.
But I've been seeing like these really instant kind of shifts and changes where I think, wow, this is just going to be really rough, to observe, and then there's a shift.
If you detach from it, with me,
detachment is huge.
It is amazing because I can be
emotionally detached, right? Is what we're talking about.
Yes, I mean, if you're facing like the next 3 days of your life are going to be total hell because you got this and this and this and this and this happening, in your schedule, and it's all stuff that you don't want to deal with. If you just detach from it, from an emotional stance, you blow right through it with no problems at all. There's so much truth to that. I mean, if you just approach it in an open mindset, then you can make it whatever you want. Really and truly.
You literally can alchemize the outcomes. And it's really, I think what we're talking about is releasing the resistance.
The resistance to it, exactly.
Right? Because when you're judging something, angry about something, wanting to control something, that energy is like creating resistance, and it's kind of like just creating
the energy's
a lot of difficulty and angst, and it's going to create more of it.
Well, yeah, you're going to manifest
more of the mess.
You're going to manifest more mess,
right?
Yeah.
But then when you're just like, there it is, I'm just going to step back and just let this work itself out.
Yeah, let's see how this is. Let's see
and not inject our
or try to control.
Try to control. You just step back and be like, I'm just going to observe this and hold space for it, whatever it is. It's amazing how it just kind of unravels and it all just kind of smooths out. And you're like, I couldn't have even made that solution up. I don't even know how that happened, but it happened.
Yeah. Wow, I couldn't have planned that better.
Right?
Yeah. Right? I'm glad I didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, I'm glad I just stepped back and let it happen. Let the universe handle it, So it's so true.
I want to learn how to do that constantly every single day, all day.
Right. Well, that's a practice,
That's
right?
That's
we're getting better at
it. Aiming for. I love the path I'm on. That's for sure. And the more that I learn, the more I understand that I have a long way to go.
Oh my gosh.
And that I'm going to be hopefully very old and very gray one day and still be learning. Yeah. You never stop.
You know what I realized as I've gone further and further on this, or expanded, I realized the more I know, the less I know.
That's exactly what I say, verbatim. The more I learn, the more I've learned that I
right. It's like the more I realize, oh my gosh, I actually know nothing. I keep going, and there's more.
That's not a bad place to be. That's a great place to be.
Right. There's always something new to learn.
Well, because then you're open.
Yeah.
Then you're receiving.
And then you're also consciously working on expanding and learning and never being like, well, I have all the answers. I know that I have so few answers because more doors keep opening. I'm like, oh, there's all this now to
Wow.
check out, right?
Yes.
So anyway, it's been so great talking to you, Darrell.
Oh, you too.
Thanks for sitting
It's
down with
always
me.
good.
It's always good. We always have these great conversations. So thanks for
We should
joining
do this
me.
often.
I know, we got to connect more often. Are there any parting words, any words of wisdom you want to share before we sign off?
Well, just keep an open mind, keep learning. You know,
Believe in yourself.
believe in yourself. One little thing at a time, and master as much as you think mastering means. Master those one little things.
Also, don't you think being kind to yourself through the
Yes,
process is
much
critical?
less everyone else, because you don't know.
Yeah, right.
You know, the guy that's blowing by you in traffic.
You don't know
might
what
be having a terrible day.
you don't know what other people are going through. Compassion is important.
Compassion. And really, it's all about compassion
For yourself.
for yourself and others.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you guys, thanks for tuning in and listening to our conversation. Thank you, Darrell, for showing up today. I hope you guys are kind to yourselves, love yourselves. Have an awesome day. We'll see you guys later. Namaste. Bye.